Hi, welcome to episode 378 of the Corner of Knit and Tea. My name is Laura. I'm also known as Fluffy Kira on Twitter and Instagram. I blog over at thecornerofknitandtea.com, and that's where this episode and every episode show notes will be. Hi, how are you? It is Monday, May 16th. We are halfway through the month. I can hardly believe it. And the weather is actually quite nice today. It's in the 70s. It was really, really hot and uncomfortable last week. And I ran my third of 3 5Ks for the spring this past Saturday, and it was really uncomfortable. It was about 80 degrees and 80% humidity, and it was just gross. But the weather has gotten better. I am coming to you today from a little bit outside Kansas City. I live on the Kansas side of the border, and it is lovely weather. I saw a little bit of the eclipse last night, and it's definitely getting towards summer here. So I feel like we just started spring, but technically I guess that was almost 2 months ago, so maybe not. But I feel like summer is on the way, and with it, lots of busy things. So I hope that you are doing well. I hope you've had a chance to craft. I have been working my butt off crafting, and I have some good progress to show for it. Not as much as I would like. Of course, there's never as much as I would like, but my days are fairly busy, so mostly I get my craft time in the evenings. Today I am drinking iced coffee. I know that's not tea, that's not the Corner of Knit and Tea, but I made a pot of coffee last night because yesterday afternoon because I just had a taste for it, and so I'm having iced coffee. I'm having it in my mug, but I am having it with ice, and this is one of my favorites from the roastery. It is a local coffee roaster, and it is a vanilla caramel, and I absolutely love it. So that is what I'm enjoying this afternoon, and it actually is nice and refreshing. So let's talk about the knits for the week. I only have 2 knits in progress to show you. Well, technically 3, I guess. And I have another one that I really, really need to be casting on. So I'm hoping maybe I'll finish one of these this week so I can cast on the next one. Regardless, by the time we speak next, I should have cast on the next one. So the first project that I'm working on is a kind of a tank top for me. I am loosely basing it on a pattern from Barocco. I started to complete the actual Barocco pattern, and then I complicated it too much, and then I had to rip it out. And so now I am using the basic cast-on numbers and yarn needle gauge, but I am not doing exactly the pattern. The pattern that I'm using is called Barocco Vincus, and it will be linked in the show notes, which are on my blog. The pattern is linked to the Barocco site because I do not link to Ravelry from my webpage anymore. If the pattern is not available anywhere but Ravelry, then there won't be a link, but I will put the entire pattern and designer name so you can just copy and paste that into Google, and I'm sure you can find it on Ravelry if that is the place you'd like it. I do try and work from patterns that are available from a second source, but because I also do some sample knitting, that is not always possible. So, like I said, this is my top that is kind of based on Barocco Vincus. The top from Barocco actually has several different patterns, so it's a little bit like a sampler. And they all go very nicely together, and it is to create kind of a loose, boxy tee. And so I am using some yarn that I talked about last week. I received it for free in exchange for a review, which I have already provided a while ago. But this is Knit Pal Cotton to the Core. It is available on Amazon. The skeins themselves are 50 grams, 142 yards, approximately a sport to DK weight, and they are 78% cotton and 22% acrylic. It has a really nice soft hand. I do not find it rough to work with like I do some cottons. And on Amazon it is available, I believe it's 6 skeins, which is about 850 yards, are available for around $24, and it comes in a variety of colorways. I am using the denim colorway, which is aptly named, and you can see that it looks kind of like a little bit of faded denim. So let's talk about my progress. Last week I was, I think I was into the second ball, and I remember that I had looked at it and thought that there was kind of an obvious line on my sweater. So I had started at the bottom and done a short section of 1x1 ribbing, and then I had moved into a pattern where I was basically doing a purl stitch every so often to just create a little bit of a fabric, a textured fabric. And you can see, yes, there is indeed a line where I went from skein 1 to skein 2. I did, you can see there's a little bit of a line, and then what I did is I mixed skein 3 and skein 2 and skein 3, and so I actually finished the back of this. I made it just a smidge shorter than the called for directions. I am knitting I think it's the 3rd size for some ease, and I was supposed to knit to 22 inches, and I think I'm at about 21 inches, and so mine is just going to be a little shorter. The reason that I did that, I guess I abbreviated. I didn't do quite as much ribbing on the bottom. I just did about 1.5 inches. So basically you could just say that I cut it off at the ribbing at the bottom. The reason that I did that is because I want to be sure that I have enough. I'm just reserving a little bit for the neckband and then the armbands. The top is essentially constructed in 2 big rectangles. There is no shaping, so this is the first rectangle, the back, and then I'm starting on the front, and the only difference in the front is that a couple inches down there will be some subtle neck shaping, just a little bit lower. I think I knit to maybe 18 inches before I start the neck shaping. The Barocco Vincas pattern is free on the Barocco website. So if you are interested in knitting it or something like it, that is your prerogative. So I finished the back, and then I went ahead and started the front. And this time I got smart. Hopefully the line will only be on the back. This time I started with 2 balls. So I am down at the bottom. I think I did only 1 ball for the ribbing because I didn't think it would matter that much because it's a different texture fabric anyway. So I used 1 ball for the ribbing, and then I immediately started alternating skeins. So I shouldn't have a line like that in here. And I am almost out of the first skein, and then I've still got a little bit left on the second. I don't see where my other, there it is. This is how much I have left of the first skein, and then the second skein I still have about half left, and so I will kind of work the 3rd skein in as well. I haven't measured yet, but I would say I probably have between 8 and probably 10 inches here, so I'm maybe halfway done with the front piece, and I will continue to work on that this week. I would love to knock this one out this week and just be done, because I would love to instant gratification, have a new top for myself, and then I could start on the new sample for Zen Yarn Garden, because I have enough things going right now that I can only work on 2 or 3 projects at a time, and I really need to get that Zen sample in, but I really want to work on everything I'm working on. So my hope is that if I buckle down and knit this like crazy, I can finish this before the end of the weekend, and then I can start the Zen Yarn Garden sample after that. So that is what I am knitting. Again, I'm sort of using the Barocco Vincas pattern for the cast on numbers and the gauge, and then I sort of made up my own little textured pattern, and this will be kind of an airy, boxy top, and I'm looking forward to it because the days are getting warm, and I would love to have more hand knit tops. Today I'm wearing my V-back tee. I actually wear the V in the front. This is by Jamie Hoffman, and this is a lovely project that either uses leftovers or I knit it using a gradient cake from Zen Yarn Garden. So more summer teas. I have a million others that I would like to do, but I think I'm going to have to put that on the back burner because I have a bunch of other projects coming up and things. I just want to knit everything right now. So, and I just need to do some other knitting. The other thing I started this week that I will tell you, but I will not show you because I know some of you are probably trying to remain spoiler free. I decided to jump into Imagine Landscapes gnome along. This is her mystery gnome for the kind of spring and early summer, and the first clue dropped last week. The second clue dropped today. I am not quite done with the first clue, but it is to make a small gnome in various pieces, and basically her projects are such that you work through the series of clues and in the end you have a cute little stuffed animal toy, and so I think this one is Make No Mistake, but I can't remember because all of her names are super cute. And I'm not going to show it today because, first of all, I do not want to spoiler anyone. And like I said, I'm also not quite done with the first clue. I don't know whether I will show that in progress on the podcast or whether I will just wait until it is finished, because I don't want to ruin the mystery for anyone. So, but on the other hand, I could just announce that I'm going to show it and tell you to look away and come back in 30 seconds. So, not today, but that is the other thing that I'm working on, just a little bit. That's just a few rows an evening, and it will be a little toy, so it's not a huge commitment. So, but that has been some kind of fun for this week. The second project that I worked on this week is the sweater for Roxy. I talked about this last week. I am knitting my niece a cardigan, and it is called Cinnamon. It is designed by Elena Nodell, who sadly passed away a couple of years ago, but her patterns are still available, and she had a young daughter who was a tween at the time. I'm sure she's a teenager now, and all of her patterns go to support her husband and her daughter, so I feel fine continuing to purchase them. I am knitting a version for Roxy, who will be 9 this fall. I can't believe it. And I am knitting her version in Dream in Color Classy, which is a lovely yarn. It is 100% superwash merino, I think. Let me double check. Yeah, it's 100% superwash merino in worsted weight, and I am using the colorway Rosy, which is mostly pink, but it's got a little bit of peach and coral in there, and it is just a really nice spring colorway. Technically this will be for the fall. It is a really nice jewel-toned colorway. And last week I showed you I had the beginning done, and now it actually looks a little bit sweater-like because I just divided for the sleeves. So this is a long cardigan. And I don't know precisely how long I'm going to make it yet. I need to sort of see where my yarn gets me and what other things I want to do, because when the cardigan was designed, it was designed to not to have sleeves. It is a short sleeve cardigan. It has some small sleeves beyond the raglan shaping, but it does not have long sleeves, and I would definitely like it to have long sleeves. It also has a very tall collar, which I think is amazing. It just looks like the girl stepped off the runway, and the girl in the pattern who models it just looks gorgeous, and I can totally picture Roxy in it. So this is what I have so far. It's a little bit hard to tell, but so it is a cardigan. It is it has a ribbed pattern, so lots of reverse stockinette, and then with these rib lines that go all the way down, and then the collar itself is kind of a 1x1 rib. Like I said, I have divided for the sleeves, and I got maybe an inch and a half beyond that, so not a ton this week, but it is looking decidedly sweater-like, and I am pleased about that. I am going to work a little bit longer. I am alternating my skeins, so I have 4 skeins total, and I have 2 skeins that I am alternating on the body, and I'm going to work these for a little bit while longer. I don't know precisely how long, and then I'm going to wind up the other 2 skeins, and I'm going to go ahead and do the sleeves and the collar, and then I will put everything that is left into the body. So I don't think the body is going to be quite as long as it calls for, but I am excited, and I will make it as long as I can to use up the yarn that I have. So yes, I am alternating skeins because I expect it with Dream in Color and any other sort of indie dyed. I definitely expect to alternate skeins to make sure that I have that I don't have any unsightly color lines, and so I am excited about this one. I hope to get a little bit more work done on this one this week, but honestly, if I could finish the top that I'm working on this week, that would be great, and then I can start on the Zen Yarn Garden shawl and then just work on this in my spare time. So this, again, is not really due until October, her birthday, but if I could finish this by the end of June, I would be really happy, because then I could do Miles' sweater in July, and then I will have the fall sweaters done and out of the way. So that is what I'm working on right now, and it is super cute, and of course I kind of want one for me, and the pattern does come in adult sizes, so maybe that will be something that I'll knit for myself one day. It is an easy enough pattern to follow. And the knitting is pretty straightforward from here, at least on the body. It does have some A-line increasing, but other than that, I'm pretty much just going to keep knitting until I hit the bottom. So that is the second project that I'm working on this week, or technically maybe the third. The fourth project, and the one that has actually been taking quite a bit of my time, is I am working on another chicken for the City Girl Farm. And this week, this time around, we're doing a slightly more complicated chicken. I don't know if I ever showed you the feathers that I was creating for a chicken. I think I did, but I haven't done one like this in quite a while. So basically, I'll give a little brief intro for those of you who haven't been with me before. I work for a local artisan called the City Girl Farm, and they are home of the original chicken footstool. I will put links in the show notes so you can check out what I mean. They are artistically sculpted chickens, and their coats of feathers are generally created in wool, either by spinning and knitting their coats, or they are felted. So they are just absolutely beautiful. Each piece is one of a kind, and they developed, actually before I joined them, a type of chicken that they call a royal chicken, and that is we get very detailed in the feathers and creating each individual feather. So I have been creating some of those feathers. They are very, very time intensive. I forgot how long they take because I just have not been able to get through as much as I have been recently. But these are the feathers that I am creating. So this chicken is going to be black and white, and in the past I have striped them. But this time around, we're going with solid colored feathers. So I'm knitting all these different stacks of feathers, and then they will be placed and layered on the body as such to create a chicken full of feathers. So this is kind of what I'm working on this week, and a stack like this usually takes me about 2 hours to create. So as I said, it is time intensive, and I'm trying to do one of them a night. I do have some other sizes. This is the absolute largest one that I'm doing, but I am maybe halfway through this project, maybe not quite halfway through this project. So this has been taking the majority of my time in the last week, and probably will for the next week or two. I'm hoping we can go back to some simple chickens for a little while, where I just knit squares or just a big kind of coat that covers the body, rather than all these little individual bits, because I have to knit all the individual bits and then sew them and assemble them together. So that is what I'm working on there. So quick sip of coffee, and then I will go into spinning, and this one will be a little on the short side. So I have a finished spin to share with you. Technically, I finished it, I think I applied on Monday night last week, maybe Tuesday night. This is the really dark skein that I had showed you from Nitty and Color. It is pink, and then it was over dyed with black. So I don't know how much you can see. I did put, or I am putting some photos on Instagram. You can see there, you can see the pink slightly. I know the light is not that great here. This is a very, very, very dark skein, and I washed it a bunch of times, and the water is still coming out faintly gray. It should not rub off on any of your clothing items, but it does shed a little bit in water. And it's got some really pretty little bits of magenta, but in general, it's just a very dark and moody skein. I got approximately 411 yards, and this, I believe, is a Tarhi. It fluffed right up, and it is super soft and fun. So if you are into something a little dark and moody, this will be going up in the shop. I should probably get it up tonight, so by the time you see this, it should already be in the shop if that is something you are interested in. This is not superwash, so at least I don't believe so. I have to go back and look at the original tag. So this, you could use this for socks, but it would not be superwash. So that brings me to what I have been spinning this week, and I am not finished. I have the first bobbin finished, and then I am ready to start the second bobbin, and that is this, which is Superwash Merino. It is from Spindelicious Fibers out of Bend, Oregon, and it is delightfully springy and almost Easter colored. It's got magentas, it's got mint greens, and then it's got some yellow and kind of swampy yellowy green, and I'm really, really liking this. This has been a pleasure to spin. I am spinning it in 2 halves, and I think this is super thin roving, so I think I spun it straight through, and my guess is I'm going to try and do that again and kind of preserve the halves. I don't think They're not going to line up exactly, so there will definitely be some barber pulling, but my hope is that I have at least a few sections of color where the colors will line up together, so there'll be really intense magenta or really intense blue, and so it will create lots of fun and color. And again, this is a superwash merino, so if this is something you wanted to use for socks, that would definitely be doable, or it might be a fun bright colored baby knit, just because it's just kind of fun and bright, and it is superwash, so it'll be a little bit easier to care for. So that is what I'm working on this week. I hope I will finish this bump this week and maybe even get to ply it before we meet again. And I decided this weekend on a super exciting spinning project that when I'm ready to start, I will share with you. It is for something for me, and I'm super, super, super excited. It's going to be a project probably that will take me through the end of the year between the spinning and the knitting, but I'm super excited for it. So I will tell you a little bit more once I get slightly further into the planning stages. I think what I want to do right now is when I finish this one, maybe spin up a little sample and see if I can make it work for what I want it to, and then I can share with you what I'm trying to do. So I think that's it for me today. I know it was a little bit of a shorter one, but I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you're doing well wherever you are in the world and that the world is not getting you too far down. It has been positively horrific here in the United States in the last couple weeks, and I don't say that with a smile because I'm mocking it. Between the Supreme Court here, between all of the shootings in just the last weekend, it is just gets harder and harder to get up and remain hopeful and positive every day. And I don't want to say that we should just get back to knitting, because we absolutely should not. We should get involved in our political processes and try to make the world a better place. But that said, I have been taking a lot of comfort in my crafting, and crafting is, at this point, what keeps me getting up in the morning and wanting to work on things, and just it's where I'm trying to channel some of my frustration and energy. So I hope that wherever you are doing well. I am thankful for my family and my friends and my health and all of the blessings that I have, even amidst everything that is going on. I wish you well in the coming week, and I will say until I see you again, happy knitting, happy spinning, happy sipping, and I'll see you next time. Bye.